I'd like to welcome onto the podcast Brad Ritter today. Welcome, Brad.
Hey, Shelly. Great to be here. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to have everybody hear what you have to say today. Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background before getting into your School of Grit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm 43, live in the Midwest. So I hail from Indiana, born and raised in Indianapolis, but we live now in just a little bit south of Indianapolis in a town called Greenwood. And I've been married almost 18 years, 2 kids. My daughter's 12, my son's 9. And we just got a new dog, new puppy. Our first like real family pet.
Oh, yeah.
And actually my wife's never had a pet, like period at all through childhood.
Oh,
Yeah. So
big change.
it's been a huge change. It's been fun
Okay.
to see her really gravitate towards a new puppy. And yeah, those who know, they know it's a little bit of a lifestyle change. And I'm not gonna lie, 2 days after we got him, we looked at each other. We were like, "What did we just do?"
Right.
Life was so good. We could just pick up and go, and But he's actually a great puppy. So we're fortunate to have him be part of the family.
That's good. That's
Yep.
exciting.
Yeah. Outside of that, I operate School of Grit, which is a book, and it's also coaching. I do a lot of small group coaching. And then I actually have a day job too, so I like to remind
Okay.
people of that. I'm a lot like maybe you all out there who have a W-2 but want to do something different, a little entrepreneurial. So I wear a couple hats. It's a lot of fun.
What do you do for your day job?
I work for a small custom printer. We're out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and excuse me. We really specialize in pressure-sensitive labels, booklets for medical device, pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, that type of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's good. So you didn't need to get out of the corporate job to do what you're doing. It's just kind of like a side gig, you said. So
Yeah, I mean,
there's
there's like a couple schools of thought, I think, with that, and it's you can do the like the burn the boats method, right, where you you go all in on yourself and try to start your own business, and yeah, you can do that. But like I said, I'm 43 and married, kids, mortgage, bills. Like there's just too much responsibility. If I was single and in my 20s, for sure, why not, right? You got a lot of time to rebound, like go for it. So I usually encourage people if they can to do 2 jobs. So have that steady paycheck, let's say, but then make sure you're disciplined enough to spend a little bit of time every day or every week working on what you feel your purpose is or what you're drawn to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what how that really started for me was I've been in sales since 2002. And I love that industry. However, what I had seen even when I was just in my 20s working for big corporate America was I'd see folks get into their 50s and 60s and get let go, and then they're like, holy crap, what do I do? How do I reinvent myself? What's my new mission? And I get that, right? That's just it's a scary place to be. And I thought, I need to right now, even though I don't need a new job, but you never know, you might need to fall back on something at some point because no one has a crystal ball. I just started thinking, what could I do that I own and that I'm for the most part in control of, so I could fall back on. And that's where I just really kind of had my eyes open up to coaching and all that good stuff. Like I love doing it. It really is my passion and what drives me, what gets me up in the morning. I like my day job, but I don't love it. I think very few people probably do. And if you do, like, kudos to you. That's awesome. You're a rare breed. But I really like what I do, but I don't love it. I love coaching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a difference. Like I do it for free type thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's a deep passion there.
There's a deep passion. In fact, I have done it for free. That's how I got started. I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna get some volunteer clients and like let's rock and roll on this.
So tell us about your physical activity background, because I know you have, we talked about you having the black belt in Taekwondo, and then I also wanted to talk about the completed a 50-hour, 50-mile, and 50K crucible. So what was that like? I mean, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, it is a little crazy. the right kind of crazy, depending on who's listening. But so I'd always been athletic, I guess. I played football, basketball, baseball. Ended up playing baseball through high school. Um, could have played in college, but got burnt out. But I'd always uh, worked out. Now, I didn't know what I was doing back then. I'll be the first one to admit, like it was all about, how you look in the mirror and doing curls for the girls and
Uh-huh.
and that sort of thing, man, to go back in time and reteach yourself what you know now. And then I kind of got out of working out actually. I just sort of let myself go and lost a lot of muscle and weight, and then just was kind of in a almost a little bit of a depressed state, if you will. And thought, well, what's changed? Well, I'm not working out anymore. Like I gotta start taking care of myself. So I slowly started crawling back, I guess you would say, and joined one of those La Fitness places, and
Mhm.
those are okay. But I have a bunch of buddies who are in the military, and I didn't serve, but I'm very patriotic, and had an opportunity to. I did not, and I chose the college route. But I really appreciate what our men and women do in armed forces. And they were I'm wearing this T-shirt right now. It says SEAL Fit for those who might not see me, and I'm like, SEAL Fit, what is that? And they were doing these workouts in the gym, and like muscle ups and just all these WODs, which stands for workout of the day, which is like HIIT training, basically like circuit training. And I'm
Uh-huh.
just sitting there like doing my bench press, doing my curls, doing my treadmill 30 minutes, and I'm like, hey, can I work out with you guys? And they're like, yeah, you want to work? Yeah, show up tomorrow. So I showed up, and they straight broke. Like I thought I was in shape, but no, I wasn't even close. I couldn't hang. I couldn't complete the workout. I was so sore. I was doing just different stuff, but I loved it, and I came back to it day after day after day, to where I started being able to kind of put it on them a little
Oh
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I knew like I was onto something, and like it changed. Like it was more functional fitness, which I know that term gets thrown out used a lot. But that's really where it started for me on my fitness journey. And then um again, I was probably in my mid 30s, 35. I was kind of having one of those moments where your internal dialogue's talking to you, and asking you. It was asking me, what are you actually here to do? Like I have a good job, it's a pretty comfortable life, nice house, kids are healthy, but man, there's something like I'm missing something. I
Hmm.
had never really pushed myself to the limit, I guess you would say. Because I think that's where you find out, what you're really made of when adversity hits you, whether you
Yeah.
invite it or life just hits you. I
Right.
think that's really when you find out like who you are, who your friends are, that sort of thing. You find out how strong you are. And luckily, I guess I had never done that. I'd never really faced true adversity. I never had to battle cancer. I had some people die in my life, but no one that was like super close. Like my parents are still alive, my grandparents at that time. Um, and I came to the realization. I was like, you know what? I live a pretty comfortable life, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
And I'm of the opinion that this is the most comfortable potentially generation that's ever existed when you collectively, depending on where you live and whatnot and what you do.
Uh-huh.
So I just kind of made it my mission to find an outlet to test myself. And that's really where that's where it all started with that camp that I attended, which is what the book's based on, and all
Okay.
that good stuff. So
And I love how, I mean, you expressed how you were in this depressed state and
mhm.
then you realized the physical part was missing.
Yep.
It really helps, exercise every day, even if it's just someone walking or whatever, just to get that oxygen flowing and really helps your whole body, your mind, spirit, everything.
Yeah,
So
there's something to it. We got two legs
yeah,
for a reason. Like we're
yeah.
made to move unless you've got a medical reason why you can't. But I can even today, like I can tell when if I haven't done anything for a couple of days, like I get edgy. Like I need that. I need that outlet. I need to get my sweat. Um, and I just, to the point now, I love throwing myself in situations where like I want to quit. Like I don't want to go anymore, you know, like
Uh,
it's too painful, or like I can't breathe, you know. But like that's when those voices inside your head become very strong, and you can learn to tame those voices. And again, being able to control that internal dialogue. I just like now that I have kids, like, oh, I love it. So like yesterday, my kids, they're doing a camp where they work out twice a week at the local high school. They've got
oh,
a
cool.
really cool camp there. And and my son's like, "Hey dad, I want to run with you." I was like, "Oh, you want to run with me?" He's like, "Yeah, he's 9." He's fast. Like I almost can't beat him like I in a straight sprint. Like he's
Wow.
pretty quick. He's got some God-given speed. But I was getting ready to go for like a longer run. And I said, "Buddy, I'm going 5 miles." He's like, "I can do it." I was like, "Are you sure? Do you really know what you're signing yourself up for?" I was like, "We can walk and stuff." And he laced up his shoes. I got the run with him yesterday. We were out like ended up being like an hour and 20 minutes because we'd stop, walk. But man, we got to talk, and he'd be like, "Dad, I can't go any farther." I'm like, "Yeah, you can." I was like, "Go up to that stop sign, or like go up to that next corner." And he's like, "But my legs are on fire." I was like, "My legs are on fire too." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Tell me, like, what's going through your mind?" And he would articulate it, and I said, "Well, think of something that excites you or puts a smile on your face, like our new puppy, stuff like that." So I was trying to teach him the tools, I guess, if you will, to become more, mentally tough and resilient. Because afterwards, he was like, "That was way harder than I thought it would be." And I was like, what I was proud of was A, you didn't quit, but B, that quitting voice, you got to experience what that sounds like. And everybody has that voice.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be physical. It could be work related. It could be, you name it, playing an instrument. You're having to give a speech. You're having to ask for a promotion at work. You name it. We all face that, but you got to confront that voice, and if you can control that, you're on your way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't learn that until, like I said, probably like my mid-30s. Something I wish I would have been taught when I was 9. Like,
Right.
what? My internal voice? Okay, yeah.
So speaking of hard things, before we go into, I want to go in more of what you're just saying, but the crucible, can you tell me how that was a hard thing? I mean, was it a group thing, or was it you did all that your own, or how did that work? Because that
Yeah,
sounds
so
hard.
so you were talking about the 50 hours,
Yeah.
50 miles, and then 50K. So I'll start with the lesser of three evils, I guess, the 50K. So the 50K was oh gosh. My neighbor literally lives right over here. He's like, runs marathons and stuff, and we're having a couple beers around his pool, and it's summer, and he's like, "Hey, I'm doing this trail race." He's like, "You interested?" I was like, "Well, yeah, well, like talk to me about it. What is it?" And he's like, "It's 50K." And I was like, "As in that many miles?" like 30 plus or whatever. He's like, "Yeah, it's trail." And I was like, "Dude, I've never been that far before." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Like I'm scared and it's
Mhm.
somewhat healthy for me. Like, let's go. Let's go. I'll train for it. Um I didn't train properly for it, but I completed it. I did it in a little less than 8 hours. Arguably one of the hardest things I ever did, even compared to Kokoro Camp, which I'll get to, which was the 50 hour,
Okay.
because um the trail, I had not conditioned my feet for the terrain, and the
Okay.
trail was, had tree roots everywhere. Like I literally had to run
Oh,
with my looking down so that I
uh-huh.
didn't trip over. I tripped and fell like three times within the first
Wow.
2 hours. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. I'm gonna get hurt. So I had to,
Those
like,
negative thoughts.
the negative thoughts, right? And I did not enjoy it at all. Like, it was
Yeah.
very picturesque, but I had to keep track of where my feet were because I felt like I could fall at any time. So that was playing with me. I was listening to, do you know David Goggins? He wrote the book. He wrote a really cool book called Can't Hurt Me back in 2018. The audiobook's amazing for those who are
Okay.
looking for like something really motivational. Um, warning though, like it's not for kids. He does cuss a lot, but that's just
Okay.
he's a former Navy SEAL. And anyway, I was listening to his audiobook because it's super motivational. I got out of wife or cell phone range, so that went dead. My phone was dead. I couldn't call anybody for help, and the people I started the race with were way faster than me. So they
Uh,
took off and I tried to keep up with them for the first like 5, 7 miles. Mistake, by the way. So halfway through, I'm by myself, like
wow.
probably for the first time, like truly alone by myself. There's no team around me. I'm in the middle of the woods. I'm hurting, and I could have easily just quit. And believe me, did I want to? But what came into my mind was like, man, what would my kids say, or like, what would my wife say if she
Uh,
was right here? So I completed the mission, right? So that was the 50K. The 50 miler, there's a company called GoRuck, which I love, and the company is founded by special forces dude named Jason McCarthy. And rucking, for those who might not know what it is, it's very simple. You just walk around with a backpack with a little bit of weight in it.
hmm,
Sounds super simple. It's not. It depends on how far you go and how much weight you're carrying.
right.
So I signed up for this race with two of my buddies who were in the military, and it was a 50 miler. So you had 20 pounds of weight in your backpack, and it was self-sustained. So you had to take all your water, all your food on top of that, and it was set up to be what they call a star course. So you show up,
So on top
um,
of the 20 pounds, you had all your other stuff.
all your food, yeah. So
Oh,
if you've got several liters of water, that's weight. That's 8 to 10 pounds of, of
mhm.
of water right there, plus your food and all that. And you had to set up. We luckily had a couple people meet us various places just to drop off some real food like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and stuff.
Uh,
So that definitely helped. But what made this race very unique was it's on you, meaning they give you waypoints and addresses, and you had to map your own course, which is why they call it a
oh,
star course. And it's at least 50 miles, but it could be a lot longer depending on how well you plan. So it really came down to
okay.
excellent planning, especially at the beginning, and then just embracing the suck and doing 50 miles. So we ended up doing 51 miles. Took us 16 hours. I'm
Wow.
sorry, just under 16 hours. And
All in
we
one shot then.
oh yeah, not stopping.
Oh,
And
wow.
well, we stopped. Our longest stop was maybe 20 minutes, and I literally changed every article of clothing I was wearing because it
Yeah.
was the middle of the night. I mean, hat down to my socks,
Wow.
and we ate whatever we had, and then it crushed us though. Like I had some. I still remember. Like I had so much like trauma in my legs. Like they were just beat to heck because I had never been that far before. And we got to the finish line, and one of the cadres like, "Yep, that's good enough for third place. Good job, guys." And I'm like, "This is awesome, man. Third place." He's like, "No, I'm just kidding. You guys actually won." And I was like, "Get out of here.
Oh,
We
wow.
won?" He's like, "Yep." And I was like, "That just goes to show you, you never know, right?"
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was super cool. Um, so that was the 50 miler. But the kind of the granddaddy of them all, I guess you would say, was the 50 hours. Actually, it was over 50 hours, and that was Kokoro Camp, which is a camp that I attended out in California. It's put on by SEAL Fit, which I'm repping on my T-shirt right now. That segued into Kokoro Camp, which is what I wrote my book about, School of Grit. So, kind of taking you back full circle, when we had started this conversation, I was in my mid 30s at the time and successful by society standards, but just knew something was missing. Like I just felt like I wasn't living up to my God-given gifts, and I thought, a lot of it's probably because I've played small ball a lot and played it safe, done all the quote unquote right things, and um, haven't gambled on myself maybe. But I don't want to say gamble, but actually
Took
take
risks.
a
Yeah.
yeah, take a worthy risk. You know what I mean? Like don't do anything stupid, but like if you feel really called to do something, like what's really holding you back? And it's fear,
Right.
normally for most people. So it's just, getting past that fear part. And I was scheduled to go to work. I think it was a Monday, and I took a mental health day back before that was like a thing with corporations now, because
Oh,
now
yeah.
it's like no big deal. But yeah,
Uh,
I called in just because you know what, I'm just gonna chill, stay at home. I'm gonna do some research on this, and so I went to the interwebs and typed in, um, passion, purpose, and there was like 27 million hits. So I'm like reading blogs and stories, and like after a couple hours of research, I was nowhere close to, really trying to figure out what it was that I was searching for. And I love video. Like I'm a big fan of YouTube, and
Mhm.
I always go on there to learn to do new things. And I'm
Yeah.
on there a lot now to try to learn how to deal with a new puppy, since that's all new with me. But I went on there and I typed in passion, purpose, and within the top 10 hits, boom, this TED Talk pops up, and it was delivered by a lady named Angela Duckworth, who wrote a book called Grit. And it was one of the books that like literally helped change my life and sent me on this trajectory. She went on to say that like grit is the leading indicator and predictor of success in life. And she has worked with any people from the military, teachers in the inner city, people working crazy hours, things like that. And the question is like, are these people going to be here next year, or what's going to keep people around? And it was grit. And grit's interesting because it has several different definitions. Her definition is the power of passion and perseverance to achieve a long-term goal. And I thought, well, that's cool. I was like, I know I'm gritty, right? I mean, duh, right, totally gritty. Well, she's got this grit scale you can take, and I thought, okay, I'll take this. And it's 10 questions. You can still take it today if you type in grit scale, Angela Duckworth.
Okay.
It's 10 questions, take you 2 minutes, and you get instant feedback as far as like your grit score. And it's on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being super gritty, 1 being little to no grit. I scored a 2.2.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. And I had that exact reaction. I'm like, that can't be right. Like, I know I'm tough. But when I looked at the way the questions were written, um, yeah, I wasn't, because I was that type of person that would start a project, let's say, and never finish it. I'd move on to like the next shiny object or what have you.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, okay, she's on to something. So I bought her book, read it cover to cover, and basically you can grow grit. You can grow. You can grow it from the inside out. You can grow it from the outside in. Growing it from the inside out would be like doing personal development or working with a coach on various aspects, things like that.
Mhm.
Growing it from the outside in would be, inviting things into your life, such as purposeful adversity, which I talk about, or attending camps, crucibles, events, doing different, signing yourself up for different stuff that's going to push you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I thought, man, she's on something. And I want to grow my grit. So I want to do it that way. I want to sign up for something. So I promise I'm getting there. So I went back onto the interwebs and went to YouTube, and I typed in world's toughest training, and up pops.
You're just going for it
I
all.
was just going, yeah, jumping with both feet in for sure.
Yeah.
And up comes Kokoro Camp by Seal Fit, and I'm like, well, what is this? So I click on a video, and there's a guy named Mark Devine. He's the founder of Seal Fit, Kokoro Camp. He's a former Navy SEAL commander, and he's addressing a class. I'll never forget this. He's addressing this class, and he's looking out at everybody, and he says, "Rejoice in adversity." Rejoice in adversity. How do we grow as human beings? It's through adversity.
Yeah.
Warriors seek out the severest of schools in order to forge their character. Welcome to the severest of schools.
Wow.
And man, I had goosebumps, and like the hair just went up on the back of my neck. And I thought, this is it. I gotta do this. I'm gonna find some answers out here.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna push me past the brink. And Kokoro Camp, for your listeners, is based on Navy SEAL Hell Week, which, if you're not familiar with what that looks like, if you actually go to be a SEAL, you go to I think it's 6 months of training, which is to start, which is called BUDS. It's basic underwater demolition SEAL. It's 3 phases. Somewhere inside of those 3 phases, there's something called Hell Week, which is basically, as the name states, it's a week long of like no sleep. They do feed you, but it's just constant. It's the constant grind, physically, mentally, emotionally, asking you to do, every calisthenic you can think of, to, you know, carrying boats everywhere to swimming in the ocean. I mean, you name it. And I thought, yeah, I
They'd
don't want to
have
do.
me at no sleep. I'd be like, sorry, I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
get
yeah.
no sleep.
So I thought, this camp is loosely based on that. It's 50 hours, starts on a Friday, ends on a Sunday, no sleep, minimal food. But I thought, I don't want to be a SEAL, but I want to know kind of how I want to meet myself for the first time, basically. I
Yeah,
want to learn these tools and tricks and all that. So I signed up, trained my butt off for it, and graduated like 7 years ago from Kokoro Camp, and it
congratulations.
thank you. It changed my life. We had about 50 people sign up, and we only passed maybe
Wow.
half, and I was one of the oldest there at like 30 something. They called me Gramps.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was my nickname. So
The
which
young
was pretty,
Gramps.
yeah, exactly. Which was pretty funny. I like telling that part, but it was truly a team in environment, transformational, super professional. You knew what you were in for. You were going to get broken several times. And the key was, when you're broke, what are you going to do? And that's when the SEALs come alongside you and they try to teach you some of those tools, tactics, and whatnot to persevere and overcome.
So there were
So
actually SEALs there in the camp with you.
yeah, it is run by SEALs. Yep.
Okay. Wow.
Hmm.
That's
Yep.
amazing.
Some active, some retired.
Okay.
Yep.
So what are some of those things that you teach with the School of Grit? Those tools to help you, dig down and just
Mhm.
keep going.
I can't tell you. No, I'm kidding. It's not a secret. No, I love sharing because, if it helps me and it can help someone else, then by all means, I'll deliver what I know. But one of the biggest things I learned out there was referred to as the big four of mental toughness, and that's what Mark teaches, and that's what I learned to control out there. But it starts with your breath, believe it or not. And we're all doing it right now, but just being in tune with your breath, and are you breathing out of your nose, you breathing out of your mouth? We have a nose for a reason, helps filter the oxygen. And if you can control your breath, then you can control your psychology and actually, where your mind's going. Because a lot of times, if you're, think about the last time you were maybe in a crucial conversation or something confrontational, you're probably holding your breath. If I had to guess, most of us do. It's just a natural reaction. But if you just take that time to get a simple little sip of breath, it doesn't sound like much, and people are probably laughing, but like it means the world of difference. It literally could mean the difference between you quitting or staying in the fight. I'm not joking. Just that little nanosecond. Parents out there, when your kids screw up or do something, and if you're having like those knee-jerk reactions, learn to respond. Well, how do you learn to respond? Well, take a deep breath first, as silly as it sounds. Take a deep breath, or two or three, or leave the room. Think about what you're going to do, and then execute. So breathe, think, execute was like the first big tool that I learned out there.
And I
And
was just, even as you were explaining that, I was thinking about my kids and just how, yeah, I need to go over, talk to them about it, just
mhm.
breathing and
Yeah,
pausing.
exactly. And I'm not perfect. I still have moments where I have that reaction, but more often than not, I can be aware of what's going on because I've trained with it so much that it's like, okay, I'm just going to be cool for a few, and then we'll address what needs to be addressed. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
because anytime you make a decision in a very emotional state, it's usually not a very good decision.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't,
So
you're just reacting, not acting. So,
Exactly. So breath was the big thing I learned out there. Now you might be in a scenario where you can't breathe, because there was portions of this camp where we were underwater in the pool and stuff like that. But that's a whole nother animal.
wow.
It's just don't freak out. You just gotta keep yourself calm, basically, and realizing that if you are holding your breath, even though it doesn't feel like it, and you're fighting your body's natural urge to break the water and get some oxygen, you have enough oxygen in your body. Believe it or not, it's the CO2 that's building up, that's causing that pressure and that anxiety.
Okay.
Um, So just so you know, but most of us are in an area where we can breathe. So if you can breathe, control your breath, right?
Mhm.
So that's the first piece. The second is just staying positive. And I mean, we all know this, positivity, but what do we exactly mean by that? Focusing on others becomes super important, especially in a team environment. So when it starts getting tough, take the focus off of you and put it on your teammates, and it will just naturally put you in a positive area, because now you've taken your focus off yourself. You're out of your own head. You're worrying about someone else. So
Mhm.
you're helping them and you're actually helping yourself at the same time, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, that makes me think, like, I'm very big on service and serving
Hmm.
other people. And so that's getting out of yourself and thinking of other people. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I've got a lot of goals, and so it's okay. Then I try to tell myself, are these selfish goals or am I helping others out? And it's like sometimes you need a little bit of both, but like I enjoy helping others way more than I enjoy helping myself a lot of times. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just a different feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 100%. And then inside of positivity as well, I've talked a lot about that inner dialogue, but I can't remember what the exact stat is, and who knows what it is, but it's a lot. There's something like 30,000 thoughts you have a day,
Okay.
but it's like, out of those, how many are positive and how many are negative? Because
Or a negative, right?
what you worried about yesterday is probably going to show up today, and it's going to show up tomorrow. So you get caught in this loop. So it's like, how do you break that loop? You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we dig into that a little bit, for sure, inside the coaching group. So I've hit on breath. I've hit on positivity. There's two more out of the big four. So the third is visualization, and just being able to, like, literally close your eyes and see yourself going through the movements, seeing yourself be successful. Um, that helped me a lot out there at that camp. It's still something. It's a very powerful tool that I use today. Whether that's, so I just gave a speech Tuesday, actually on the anniversary of D-Day, and it was on grit and dealing with your fear. And hey, I'm like most people. Like, I get nervous when I get to hop on a podcast, or I'm talking in front of a group of people, but I try to take the time to see myself delivering what it is I'm going to talk about, see myself being successful. Because
Mhm.
if you can see it and believe it, you can achieve it. If you don't think you can do it, good luck. Like, you've probably already lost. So
Right.
that's just a way that, what Sun Tzu say, who wrote The Art of War, victorious warriors see themselves winning first before going to the battlefield, whereas those who don't end up losing. Like, they've already lost, right? They're out of it. They're not positively charged.
Yeah.
And I think, I heard that Michael Phelps, the Olympic swimmer, part
Mhm.
of his daily training was like an hour or two of visualization. He would sit and
Wow.
close his eyes and just see himself swimming all the different laps, and he knew, like, right to the second where he would be on each event he was competing in. So it's
That's
super
amazing.
powerful
Yeah.
practice. Yeah, yeah. And I work a lot with my clients incorporating that into their. I'm big on morning routines, and
Okay.
incorporating some sort of visualization practice into their morning routine, even if it's just a 5 minute, like, hey, we're going to take 5 minutes here. I want you to see yourself being successful today. Like, what's your most important thing you got to do today? Maybe it's personal, maybe it's professional, but I want to see yourself doing it.
Yeah.
And it works. Trust me.
All right.
So that's visualization, and then the last one is proper goals. So I touched on this a little bit with my son running, and that's like, okay, if we're gonna go run 5 miles, how are we gonna break this down? So you might have to break it down to that next street or that next tree or that next stoplight, just to keep yourself going. For me at Kokoro Camp, it was really the next meal. I was just trying to survive, or the next evolution. I was just trying to survive this moment right now, be present. If I thought about graduating 2 days from now, I would have probably quit, because I'd have been like, there's no way I can keep up this pace. It's impossible.
Yeah.
But instead of that, it's like, I'm just going to focus on the here and now. I can control that, and then it'll be over. And then we'll move on to something else. And then I'll use that same mentality, try not to get too far ahead of yourself when it comes
Wow.
to goals.
I think all four of those, I mean, just to incorporate those and just to take the time, for me, it'd be just taking the time to figure out and make it a priority. like I'm a morning routine type person too. I like the mornings is my time, but um and just the simple things, and but it just takes time to incorporate it in your life and make it part of your life. I think the consistency is important.
The consistency's that's it to me. It's just the consistent practice. You see it with really anything. Working out. I mean, if so, like if you're gonna go, say you're gonna be a bodybuilder, right, and go up on stage and look all jacked. I mean, you're gonna work out 8 hours right before you go on stage, or is it that consistency of the 6 months leading up and just doing a little bit every day? You know, it's the consistency
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Building those mental muscles.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So I heard you have a morning routine. What's yours consist of?
I like to get up and I pray, take a minute to pray, and then my first thing is exercise, and I listen to podcasts and things while I'm exercising part of the time. I love to do it outside, or rather be outside exercising, and then part way through I unplug and I just, while I'm exercising, still just take in nature.
Yeah,
So, and just kind of listen to God and converse that way. And so that's my start. And then I like to study my scriptures and just kind of
yeah,
journal a little bit.
that's awesome.
That's my start.
See, I tell everybody it's like you have a morning routine, whether you're aware of it or not. Like that's your whatever it is you're doing right now, that's your routine. And but I love that you're taking time for yourself and digging in with
Sometimes
yeah,
better than others.
I'm on the same page ever since we've gotten this puppy. Mine's
Oh
been
yeah.
off. Plus, we're on summer break, so I've been working at home since 2003
Okay.
and out of my house, which is great. But like now my wife and kids are home because they're not in school. My wife's a teacher too, so it's just
Okay.
it's harder because I'm up a little bit later. I'm sleeping in maybe a little bit longer at times, and whatever. It's a season, and as long as I get done when I need to get done. But I love what you said there, like working out outside. I love that. Like that's probably my favorite thing,
Yeah.
and I feel closest to God usually when I'm getting my sweat on, if that makes sense. You
Uh-huh.
know, like it's just like life slows down
Yeah.
and like some of those answers start coming to you and like it's magical.
Yeah, it is. And just, I don't know, combined with the exercise and then being in nature for me, it's, yeah. And I love ultimate frisbee. That's one of the things I love to play. So just
Oh, cool.
yeah.
We have our high school here has a frisbee team and I didn't even know that was a thing. They won state. I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was as big of a deal as it is until my brother, well, I have a brother that went national. I'm like, what? Oh, okay.
Like this is big.
Yeah.
It's like the two big things that I'm seeing pop up is ultimate frisbee and pickleball. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like huge.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. Well, can you, before we close, tell us about your, you have a gift for the listeners of, for your coaching and where they can get your book and connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the book's on Amazon. So just check out School of Grit, Brad Ritter. It'll show up. I always appreciate the support on that. That it debuted last year and it was a bestseller for a little bit. You know, it's cooled off a little bit as most books do, but it's still I love it. Like I love that I did this book because that was one of the hardest things I ever did, talking about hard things.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't consider myself a writer. I do now, but that was hard. Just every day, every morning, just committing to writing, 500 words or whatever. Was very difficult. And then going through the editing process, which is basically like someone telling you your baby's ugly and you need to start over. Just dealing with that. So yeah, but the book's on Amazon. It's also in Barnes and Noble, Walmart, stuff like that.
So you
Um,
really had to dig in your grit to
oh
do
my
like
gosh.
your book.
I mean, so like grit comes in many forms. It doesn't have to be physical, it could be
Yeah.
mental, could be emotional, yeah, spiritual, you name it. So that
Yeah.
was definitely a mental one and emotional, but
Yeah.
but mostly mental. Yeah, so I appreciate the support on that. And then if y'all want to find me, just go to schoolofgrit.org.
Okay.
Not .com, but .org. I don't own the .com domain,
Okay.
and I'm not going to pay for it right now. But schoolofgrit.org, you'll find all my contact information, all my services, and if you're interested in coaching, click on Tribe, and I offer a 30-day free trial for the listeners out there. So
Awesome. Now, can you just explain a little bit of what you do with the coaching? Is it a group setting or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a group setting. We meet usually once a week. Typically, I like to typically do it first thing in the morning if possible. It depends on time zones, but it's like I said, it's group coaching, and it's a mix of different course curriculum that I've come up with. We'll teach on that, or I like to get real with people too. So like it's small groups. So I like to build that bond, build that unity, and sometimes I'll do person in the middle or hot seat deal where it's like, hey Shelly, you're new, what's going on in your life? What can we help you with? And it's just a way for us to create space, safe space for you to just unleash, talk about whatever it is, and we help each other get through it and hold each other accountable. So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Sounds like it'd be really good.
Yeah.
So thank you, Brad. This has been great. There's a lot of good stuff that you shared. I really appreciate you sharing that you have and amazing things you've accomplished. I mean, wow, a lot of hard physical stuff that has built you through and through, right? Every aspect of your life.
Yeah, thank you. It's and people probably hearing, yeah, it's physical. It's that's where it starts, but it's how it is if you're out there working out and stuff. Physical quickly becomes mental and
Yeah,
emotional.
yeah,
And it just makes you stronger. Not that life's gonna be easy, but it becomes a little bit easier, I find, the more I sort of beat myself up on purpose, so to speak. I don't want to say beat myself up. It's fitness, not brokenness, right? We're trying to be, it's longevity. I'm in it for the long haul. It's all about
right,
longevity
right.
now, but yeah,
But
go
yeah,
through it.
it all is one. It all works
Yeah,
together.
it
Just
does.
so digging that grit. So thank you so much, Brad. I appreciate you being with me today.
Yeah, Shelly, thank you so much.